Excellency Mr. I Gusti Agung Waisaka Puja, the Indonesian Ambassador of Austria, distinguished Professor Dr. Hubert Dorstein, General Manager of OEAD, the Austrian Agency for International Cooperation in Education and Research, distinguished speakers from various institutions in Austria, Germany, the Netherlands, my beloved Indonesian students from PPI Austria, Indonesian Students Association in Austria, and I4, International Indonesian Scholars Association, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. First, I would like to express my deepest apology for not being able to be with you in Austria due to unforeseeable circumstances that obliged me to stay in Indonesia. However, with the advanced technology nowadays, I wish this recording could represent my presence in Austria, and you could assure that my spirit and support will still be there with you. Secondly, it is really my honor to deliver the keynote in the symposium on the Earth Resilience. As you might be aware that my background is forestry and environment. So, surely I have the same interest with you in this area of science for the purpose of saving our beloved Mother Earth. Excellency, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, climate change and global warming are happening and cannot be avoided by people living in this world. Such occurrences are shown by the rise of the air and sea temperatures, the reduced number of glacial mountains, as well as the increase of the sea level surface in all parts of the world. Climate change impact and risk. Human activities are considered as the main cause of the climate change impact in the world. The rise of global temperature that has been measured since the beginning of the year 1000 was presumably caused by the increase of number of greenhouse effect concentration. This greenhouse effect is caused by the increased number of carbon dioxide, which resulted from the fossil fuel burning. In 2008, the carbon dioxide number, which counted before and after the era of industrialization, was 280 ppm and 386 ppm respectively. The global warming also makes the sudden and permanent climate change impact. The ice melting from the North and South poles contributes to the rise of the sea level and floods in the lowlands. The length of dry season, forest burning in Amazon, forest fires, heated peatland stimulate the greenhouse effect even much worse at present than the old time. The human activities are projected to be continuously conducted until the next few decades, even though the greenhouse emission may be stopped or decreased for a while. The global temperature will still be increased, and it is predicted more than 0.6 degrees Celsius in this decade. In view of the above reality, it is important to the people in the world to select appropriate technologies for maintaining the Earth's sustainability. Indeed, this is becoming the most important decision for the future generation. For the world region who decide to maintain the energy sustainability, it is predicted that the average global temperature will be increased by 1.8 degrees Celsius. The range is around 1.1 to 2.9 degrees Celsius. However, if people in the world pays attention on efforts for maintaining the energy sustainability, the average global temperature will be increased up to 4 degrees Celsius. The range is around 2.4 to 6.4 degrees Celsius. In the last situation, it is possible that climate change causes bigger impacts to the Earth's sustainability. On 20 September 2011, His Excellency President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono signed a presidential decree, Press number 61, 2011, on a national action plan to reduce greenhouse gas emission, also called RI.mpg. This action plan is regulating the 5 targeted emissions from forestry, peatland, agriculture, energy, transportation, industry, and waste management. The implementation of this action plan will involve Indonesian ministries and non-ministerial agencies, regional governments, societies, and businessmen. This is a follow-up to the Bali Action Plan Agreement during the 13th Conference of Parties United Nations Climate Change Convention, COP-UNFCCC in Bali, December 2007. It also fulfills the commitment of the Indonesian government to voluntarily reduce greenhouse emission by 26% on our own, or a reduction of 41% with international help. In Indonesia, the predicted range of the greenhouse gas net emission is varied from 1.35 to 2.95 gigaton carbon dioxide emission in the period of 2000 and 2020. Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that our beloved Earth is now losing her sustainability due to the climate change has forced the world's scientists with various disciplinary backgrounds to work together hand in hand in order to search for the right solution to the global challenges. The word of sustainable means keeping something going continuously, so it is no doubt that researchers in the last 25 years have been triggered to the various research areas in food security, energy, sustainability, health and medicine, as well as disaster resilience for protecting the future life of the next generation. In Indonesia, allow me to inform you that such research areas also have been stated as the priority research areas in the National Science and Technology Policy 2010-2014 and in the Long-Term National Development Program, Rencana Pembangunan Jangka Panjang Nasional atau RPJMN 2009-2025. The 7th priority research areas to be conducted until 2025 are food and agriculture, health and medicine, energy, including renewable and alternative energy, information and communication technology, transportation, defense technology, and advanced material, including nanotechnology. Moreover, to support the implementation of those 7 areas, including food security, health and medicine, as well as energy sustainability, our ministry has the National Innovation System, or SINAS, Incentive Research Funding, or so-called SINAS incentive, that could be also accessed by Indonesian scientists who has international partners in Indonesia. Furthermore, our ministry also have mobility program. It is an exchange program for Indonesian scientists and their international partners for supporting the international program. Usually, these programs are resulted from the commitment of Indonesia and its bilateral partners. Excellency, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, last year, on May 27, 2011, the President of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Dr. Haji Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, launched a new policy direction, so-called the Master Plan for Acceleration and Expansion of Indonesia Economic Development, or MP3EI, for 2011-2025. This master plan consists of three pillars: economic potential development through economic corridors, strengthening the national connectivity, and science and technology, human resources development. In the master plan, it is stated that the ability of a nation to promote sustainable economic growth depends heavily on the ability of the nation to improve innovation. Innovation based on the capitalization of technology research product will make an immediate impact on improving sustainable productivity, which in turn can accelerate the economic growth of a nation. The ability to master science and technology is a basic capital to create innovations that will be useful to develop economy in order to face global competition. Moreover, 22 main economic activities are categorized, and 6 economic corridors in Indonesia are determined. The elaboration of 6 corridors are as follows. Sumatra Economic Corridor is expected to become the center for production and processing of natural resources as the nation's energy reserve. Sumatra is also considered as the front gate of the national economy into the European, African, South Asian, East Asian, and Australian markets. Java Economic Corridor is expected to become the driver for national industry and services provision. To support this, a special strategy will be implemented to further develop Java Corridor industry that support the conservation of water and the environment. Kalimantan Economic Corridor is expected to become a center for production and processing of national mining and energy reserve, taking into consideration the abundant resource available and the geographic features of the Kalimantan. However, Kalimantan is also acknowledged as the lungs of the world. Therefore, under the program of Heart of Borneo area, the government of Indonesia will provide 45% of Kalimantan to support such program. The provision of land was enforced in the Presidential Decree number 3 of 2012. The 7 pillars of Heart of Borneo are on the design and modeling of low carbon development, equality of access and stakeholders, monitoring the availability and vulnerability of environment services, policy and government, alternative energy development, and strengthening of human resource capacity. In the future, there would be synergized programs for Kalimantan to achieve its function as one of the economic corridor as well as the lungs of the world. Sulawesi Economic Corridor is expected to become the center for production and processing of national agricultural, plantation, fishery, oil and gas, and mining. This corridor is expected to be at the forefront of the national economic serving the market of East Asia, Australia, Oceania, and America. Sulawesi Economic Corridor development focuses on the main economic activities of food agriculture, cocoa, fishery, and nickel mining. Food agriculture activities in Sulawesi are rice, corn, soybean, and cassava. Food agriculture activities, especially rice and corn, are very important, particularly for domestic consumption. Indonesia is the third largest rice producer in the world, most of which is used for domestic consumption. Indonesia imported 800,000 tons of corn in 2010 to meet its domestic demand of 5 million tons. Sulawesi is the third largest food producer in Indonesia, which accounts for 10% of the national rice production and 15% of national corn production. Food agriculture contributes 13% of Sulawesi's GRDP. Bali, Nusa Tenggara Economic Corridor. It is expected that Bali, Nusa Tenggara will become the gateway for tourism, industry, and national food support. It is aimed to improve the people's welfare in this corridor. Three economic activities in this corridor are tourism, fisheries, and animal husbandries. Papua Maluku Island Economic Corridor. This corridor is aimed to be the center of production for food, fisheries, energy, and national mining development. This corridor has abundant natural resources. Excellency, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, back to the issues of climate change, I would like to share with you some areas that are affected by its occurrence. First, human health. The environmental change due to climate change is affecting the human health through the diminishment of ozone layers in the stratosphere. This situation may increase human risk for having skin cancer, respiratory disease, reduced number of herbal medicine, land degradation, and ecosystem changing. All of these situations stimulate the factor disease distribution, the unavailability of clean water resources, as well as causing the sanitation problems. The significant rise in rainfalls number in certain months during the wet seasons, as well as the lack of rainfall during the dry seasons, causes the fluctuation of global temperature and affect the human health condition. The human health may be influenced through microbial contamination and dynamic transmission of the diseases. Consequently, the climate change will also influence agro-ecosystem, socio-economy, and demography condition. These conditions will also influence modulation on social economy and the national development. The impact of climate change to the human health are closely related to the rise of global temperature, which encourages the distribution of airborne diseases. The number of deaths caused by the heat, the poisoned food, the polluted air, as well as the disease from cattle or rats. Other health problems in Indonesia which is usually occurred occasionally, are diseases after the natural disaster happened in one area. The type of deaths following the disasters are by accident itself or by malnutrition people, in which that the crop harvesting was failed due to the natural disasters. Efforts of the challenges of climate change in health and medicine areas, among others, conducting research and development on anti-malaria drugs, tuberculosis, vaccine, avian flu, and dengue. In addition, medicinal equipment like portable ultrasonography or natural herbal medicine for diabetes and hypercholesterolemia and hypertension are usually required after the natural disasters in one region. Second, food security is important issues in Indonesia. Allow me to inform you that Indonesia just hosted the Jakarta Food Security Summit 2012. Feed Indonesia, Feed the World on 7 to 10 February 2012. Our ministry participated in this prestigious event and agreed that research and technology would be continuously developed in the future. In order to support the food productivity, during the GFSS summit, some of the suggested innovative technologies are for producing new seedling varieties with adapted to stress tolerance and for post-harvesting. It is also hoped that such varieties may improve added value of food products, which meet with the standard requirement. So, automatically, their competitive indexes are also increased. Under the coordination of our ministry, the Agency for the Assessment and Application of Technology, or BPPT, and the Indonesian Institute of Sciences, (LIPI), have technologies for improving food productivity for certain food crops, among other through biotechnology approach, such as genetic engineering for improving quality of plant seedlings, plant mass propagation through tissue culture, application of biofertilizer, biopesticides and insecticides, especially for optimizing the plant productivity in suboptimal and marginal lands. Moreover, the National Nuclear Energy Agency, or BATAN, also support the food security program in Indonesia. The safety radiation technology for improving rice productivity has been proved to increase the rice production in Indonesia, as well as to meet with the quality and standard of rice production. 3. Energy sustainability. Recently, last week, on March 7, 2012, the National Energy Council, Dewan Energi Nasional, or DEN, which was established by Law number 30/2007 and chaired by His Excellency President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, conducted the coordinating meeting to formulate the long-term national energy policy. The Ministry of Research and Technology is acting as out of 7 members of that. As the world population by 2045 will be predicted to keep growing up to 1.9 billion of people, it is calculated that the world will require additional 60 to 70% of the existing energy consumption by that time. Therefore, all countries, including Indonesia, should develop a wise and strategic national energy policy, as well as expanding the global coordination through international cooperation and diplomatic dialogue. Hence, the whole world could be avoided from the open conflicts of energy resources competitiveness. Then has four functions which are designing and formulating the national energy policy, which should be approved by the House of Parliament members. Second, determining the national and strategic plan of energy. Third, identifying appropriate actions should there is energy crisis in Indonesia. Four, to monitor the energy policy implementation in all cross sectors. Then also has approved the draft plan of national energy policy, which prioritizes energy resources as one of national capital and not merely as the export commodity. This policy should be used as guidance for national energy resource utilization to establish the energy sustainability and independence in order to support the national sustainable development. To achieve such objective, target in such policy will cover energy resource availability, priority, utilization, national energy reservation, energy conservation and diversification, environment and safety, subsidized price and incentive energy, research and development of energy resources, institutional and funding resources. Will be submitted to the House of Parliament to be utilized further as a guidance for formulating National Energy General Plan and National Electricity General Plan. Under the coordination of the Ministry, BPPT and Batam have energy research and development programs, which covers technologies among others are solar, wind, geothermal, marine current, hydrogen energy, bioethanol or biofuel, biodiesel, bio-oil, microturbine, cogeneration technology, as well as nuclear technology for RI.mpg and for safety purposes. In the implementation of the programs, some of international partners also support the program. One, geothermal cooperation between BPPT and German Research Center for Geosciences. Two, the marine current energy research amongst Menristek and UNIDO, Ponte de Archimedes, Italy, Nusa Tenggara Regional Government, as well as the agriculture beyond food, biodiesel from Jatropha curcas with the Netherlands. Excellency, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, disaster resilience. The Natural Disaster Management Research Program in Indonesia is an example of the excellent consortium research in Indonesia. It involves various institutions in Indonesia, where our ministry also plays a significant role in such program. Some of the institutions which are involved in the consortium are the Ministry of Research and Technology, the National Agency for Disaster Management, the National Agency for Meteorological and Geophysics, BPPT, LIBI, National Geospatial Agency, National Aeronautic and Space Agency, and some related universities in Indonesia. Our ministry also has the Research Center Information of Natural Disaster, also called Pusat Informasi Riset Bencana Alam, which is working closely with all of these institutions to cope with the climate change challenge, BPPT also has the program of technology needs assessment for mitigation and adaptation of climate change in Indonesia. Referring to the existing bilateral cooperation, Indonesian scientists together with the partners from Germany, USA, Japan, Malaysia have been working hand in hand in developing the tsunami early warning system as well as the multi-hazard early warning system. Moreover, through the regional and multilateral cooperation, among others, are the Asian Committee on Science and Technology and the Intergovernmental Oceanic Commission, UNESCO, Indonesia also shows its leading role and important contribution to the development of disaster resilience program. Such contributions are including the efforts for increasing public awareness on natural disasters. The important things are the way to translate the basic research language into the popular language for the society, so people will understand the natural hazard threats, detecting them, increasing awareness of other communities living in the prone areas of natural disaster, for instance, tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanoes, and the areas affected by the climate change impact. Excellency, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, close to the end of my speech, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the hosts of this event, which are the Vienna University of Technology, or TU Wien. Second, the Indonesian Embassy of Vienna. 3, OEAD, and the Austrian Agency for International Cooperation in Education and Research. 4, Persatuan Pelajar Indonesia Austria, or Indonesian Student Association in Austria, as well as Ikatan Ilmuwan Indonesia International, or I4, the Indonesian International Scholar Association, for having this brilliant initiative by inviting policymakers, scientists, and young generation together in this symposium. Indeed, I believe that this symposium would be a vehicle for participants in order to exchange ideas, information, knowledge, skills, and techniques based on the same and common purpose. Finally, without further ado, I would like to declare that this symposium is now opened, and I wish that all of you would have a fruitful meeting and innovative results to save the world for our future generation. I thank you very much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.